Husband admitted he's not willing to meet my needs. TLDR, husband of 17 years, who I've bent over backwards trying to accommodate in matters of dishonesty, is refusing to meet my need to feel secure in our marriage. Using a throwaway as I'm embarrassed after all the posts I've made that I'm still in this relationship. My 39F husband, 57 meters, just said he's not willing to meet my needs. Basically, things haven't been right between us for about 3 years. We've been fighting, usually about his dishonesty, approximately every 2 weeks. As far as I know, there's been no cheating. It's just that he lies to me about big things and is not emotionally honest with me. We had a terrible fight on Monday. I'm not sure how much detail is required, but in a nutshell, he had committed, through his therapist's suggestion, to spend 15 minutes a day telling me about his day, working on honesty, and he hadn't done it, despite me asking him to. We tentatively made up on Tuesday, but something didn't feel right with me, and suddenly I had a eureka moment. This man doesn't care about me. I told him this in the most loving way possible, and he was surprised, or acted that way. He said he does care about me, and perhaps I should attend therapy to work out why I think that. I asked him to make me feel more loved, and he doubled down on this being a me problem and needing to attend therapy. I tried to communicate that if he was thinking he was showing me love, it's not translating through to me, and I think I did a really good job of that, using non-threatening language, not blaming him, etc. I asked him to think about whether he could perhaps try to meet my needs in a way that was important to me, i.e. doing more emotional work in the relationship, showing affection in my love language, etc. And he said, no. I'm devastated. I've worked so hard in trying to be more understanding and supportive, and what he needs for me to be, and for him to not have any empathy for me feeling unloved and not cared for, stings. I suppose that I should feel grateful that after 17 years and 2 children he finally found it in himself to be honest with me. I'm not sure what I'm looking for in this post. Maybe just someone to tell me that it's going to be okay. Maybe just some people to vent to, maybe even for someone to tell me I'm not as unlovable as I feel. Any advice or feedback would be so appreciated. When someone shows you, or in your case tells you, who they are, believe them. You deserve to be loved. You deserve better. You hid together with him when you were 22 and he was 40. You have been exclusive with him almost your whole adult life. There is a good chance that he deliberately chose a much younger woman so he could behave any way he liked, and you would be too inexperienced to have a strong sense of self, or recognize when he was being shady or manipulative. Think about it. Now that you're 39, can you imagine getting into a long-term relationship with, or even just dating, a guy just barely out of college? Now that you're waking up to the reality of your situation, he is using the therapeutic setting to gaslight you and pathologize your reasonable concerns. He is actually trying to convince you that wanting affection from your partner of 17 years makes you weird and needy. I think you should go to a therapist, one that can empower you and strengthen your sense of self. Do not let him go with you to spin this situation. I also think your next stop should be a lawyer, so that you can see what your finances would look like if you separated. Again, he doesn't not need to know that you are making plans. As for your kids, yeah, divorce is hard, but it's worse for them to grow up in a household seeing their mother be sad, manipulated, and downtrodden by a man who doesn't love her. You're not unlovable. From what you've said about your own behavior in your post, you are indeed very lovable and deserving of care and make a great partner. But I can't tell you it's going to be okay, because he doesn't love you enough. Nothing you can do, no level of care you show him, No amount of making yourself smaller will make him love you the way you need and deserve. He has told you point blank that he doesn't love you enough to put in the effort to make you happy. The only thing that remains is for you to figure out how long you can bear it. And after that, to find someone who will be happy and honored to love you and be loved by you. My story is very, very similar to yours. I married at 25 to someone who was 40. We stayed together for 18 years and 2 kids. He was emotionally distant and financially messy. He wanted to work for himself but would go into huge debts and tax liabilities without disclosing the extent of issues because it was his business. And I didn't have visibility into his accounts until they became personal debts. Over and over, when I talked about being unhappy, it was pushed back as my problem. He would say, "I'm fine, if you're unhappy. Go get therapy." And similarly with financial issues, it was always an issue with my anxiety and not his risk-taking. He refused productive participation in therapy for years. He would sometimes agree to go, but wouldn't actually act on any recommended changes. I remember lying in bed each night and thinking, I do not want the next 20 years of my life to look like the last 20 years, over and over. I was 42 when we separated. And then he desperately agreed to counseling, etc. But by then there just wasn't any trust or patience or emotional closeness left to work with. It was a hard divorce. Not going to lie, he was regretful and a good dad. But some years later, I've bought my own house, recovered my credit, have a good job. I even have a friendship with him. My kids are okay. I have a boyfriend and friends. Leaving him is a complex decision. But I just want to assure you that you are not the problem. It's okay to want honesty, reliability and love in your relationship. Those are not radical standards. If you decide to leave, there is another future out there for you. No offense to you op. But this is a model case of why we tell younger people to not date older people. You're 39. Imagine yourself dating a 22-year-old guy. Does that feel icky to you? Yeah, that's exactly what he did to you. More to your issue in the post. I suspect he never actually cared. He got together with a young girl with not a lot of life experience compared to him, and who was easy to control and push around. Now that you're older and more mature, you don't put up with his BS anymore, and that has been the real reason for your rocky relationship. IDK if anything ever told you this. But at 39 you don't need to be with a 60-yo who doesn't care about you. There are plenty of age-appropriate people who you can still be happy with who will care about you. And again, if you think you're too old to start over, your husband was a year older than you are now when he got with you. Honestly, it sounds as if you were groomed into this relationship. It's time to dump grandpa and find someone that aligns with your stage in life. Also, therapy is crucial. I would start there. You're 39. Move on. His love has obviously faded. You're in the next stage of your life. And it's going to be fabulous. I've worked so hard in trying to be more understanding and supportive and what he needs for me to be. This is a dangerous game to try to be what someone else needs. It's not healthy. You have to be you and he has to be him. If that is not satisfying, then perhaps you two are mismatched. I don't disagree with everyone who is stuck on the age difference. But giving you the benefit of the doubt here, and not that he's a sexual predator who groomed you out of college. He needs therapy more than you, based on your story. And if he is unwilling to do the work to meet your needs, or go to some counseling to adjust what's wrong with your relationship, then you don't have a relationship anymore. You exist in his life to meet his needs. If he doesn't go to couples counseling, or doesn't do the homework required by your counselor to fix the problems in your marriage, then he doesn't care about you or the marriage, at least not in any tangible way that will make You feel like an equal, valued partner. I'm guessing he's never thought of you as an equal, valued partner. I am guessing he's always treated you as an inferior, and that has made you feel dependent on him. Cue all the other comments about how he's trained you to need him and meet his needs, while ignoring yours, and it's just gotten worse and worse over time. Relationships are hard and we all make mistakes. But it's what we do when we realize the flaws that matters. You have identified a need and he has said, too bad. You need to leave someone like that so you feel valued and your needs are met by someone else. You are not unlovable. You're just with someone who is incapable of treating you with value and respect. And I'm sorry to hear that. SIGHHHHHHHH. 17 years? You were 22. He was 40. Don't you figure why he's not interested in you? He tries to leave you for another young girl. Time for contracting a divorce lawyer. Pack your things. Move out. There's nothing to There isn't a relationship anymore. He has checked out. He doesn't care or love you anymore. And trying to cling onto that with therapy and these talks is pointless. It's time for separation or divorce. Maybe a few weeks away from him and he will change, but I doubt it. You were with this guy since 22. Holy hell, that's your whole life. As a multiple abusive or dishonest relationship survivor, I can tell you now in the kindest way. It is a you problem if it is a problem to you and you are still there. He is mistreating you. But that won't matter if you lived your whole life or a large chunk of your life chasing suffering and worrying about the desires of someone who only thinks about how they can use you to bring themselves satisfaction. Once you leave, he will begin chasing you, and you must be stronger than to fall for that. Watch videos on dealing with a narcissist, go on a trip far away. Date someone else. Learn who you are and what you want. I'm trying to understand what you mean you don't feel secure in your marriage? Dishonesty about what? What exactly is he holding back from you? Are you talking about emotions, or is he doing stuff financially without including you or allowing you to have access to money? Honey, stop trying. Of course you're not unlovable. But that doesn't mean he can. You need to love yourself more than this though. There are so many better men out there. You can and should do better. Please quietly leave this man. He's a liar and a criminal and a terrible partner. You deserve better. It's absolutely not a you problem. You are young. We get one precious life. And you've had an incredible realization. I know it's hard to think of the sunk cost of 17 years. But it's called the sunk cost fallacy for a reason. You could go now and find decades of the love you deserve. He straight up told you he's not willing to make an effort to change. What other sign do you need? There's nothing left here. Please leave him and find someone you won't have to beg for the bare minimum. You deserve better. Girl, divorce him. Girl, with that age gap, he should be begging on his knees. Get out.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.